have we been able to identify the ideologies of the political parties that are applying their trade in this coming election for 2023 election? How have we been able to, as stakeholders, to be able to dialogue, engage with our politicians to find a way forward in helping to come up with policies that are implementable? And how have the people been able to also do a research into each candidate coming up from each political party? Have they been helping us? And we have found out that most of the time we move one step forward and two steps backwards. Economy is not better for it. The socio-economic situation probably have stagnated, and we are not advancing forward just like the Western nations are doing. This week, we are still pushing ahead because this is something that affects the nation, that affects the people, that affects business, that affects so many stratas of the society, and we are deeply concerned. So we are not looking forward. I have intellectuals who are here to discuss this matter, and let me quickly introduce them. I have Dr. Lekan Oketokun, a political scientist, who is also a political science lecturer at the Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
We were able to really enjoy you last week, and I believe that this week too we will have a more robust dialogue. More so that we are also having Dr. Simon Otumala, who is also a political scientist and applies his trade with the Federal College of Education with Shele Abeokuta. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good day, sir.
Yeah, this week we're also still on the topic public relations and political campaign. And we all understand that this is the season for campaigns. And politicians will be engaging citizens, they'll be coming up with their policies, visions, and the like. How has campaigns, how has it helped us to develop economically? Okay, let me start with Dr. Tumala.
Yes, every electoral process is hinged on the content of the messages that will be passed across to the voter by the respective candidates and their party. So automatically one is expected to look onto the political process as an improver of the lot of the masses. So in a democratic dispensation like us, we have every 4 years where people come to our politicians and candidates come to sell their party programs and manifesto to the masses and to the voters. So since that is the case, the economic implication or the economic driver of the society based on campaign is such that if we have a situation where the right campaign pattern is adopted, where all platforms, social media, the conventional media, papers, every platform is being adopted. So we are looking at a multiplier effect. We are looking at the fact that
we've been having this, all these tools that you are mentioning. We've been having them.
We've been having them. So why in the course of your introduction, you made mention of advanced societies where we borrowed or copied democracy from as practiced in Nigeria.
Really?
Yes.
Well, democracy has been an in thing in Africa.
Yes, it has been an in thing, but representative democracy in itself, whether liberal, whether Marxist, are practiced from the advanced world. And there are scholarship to back up those positions. But in this case, we are talking about the economic implication. The economic implication should be such that if our political process is such that is institutionalized, is such that carries everybody along, it should be a win-win for everybody. This season should be a season where people will be glued to all media platforms, where they want to hear the programs and the manifestos of the respective candidates. But the reverse is almost the case. because we know it's either you are in the major political party or you are nowhere. Last week you were discussing individual candidacy with respect to campaign, and our respected scholar mentioned Chief Dami Faremi of blessed memory. As popular as he was in his days, could not win in his own constituency. Why? Despite the fact that he would have presented a very robust campaign, despite the fact that he had a place in the minds of the masses. We understand the way our political systems are structured. We understand what goes in. Now, the Nigerian political process is not like garbage in, garbage out. There's a tendency for you to put something in and get another thing, because it is not the norm. So we might not be able to measure the economic implication on the scale of rationality and on the scale of putting the variables on the ground, because the Nigerian political system.
Why is Nigeria near Africa different?
Maybe I want to say Africa is different because of who we are. if that suffices, Africa is different because of who we are.
Well, I will ask Dr. Lekon Oketokun to explain who we are.
Okay.
But finish what you are saying.
So now, what is applicable in other civilized clans? You know, this season, in the run-up to the election, we should have an engaging platform. Political parties should have sent their foot soldiers, their agents, canvassing and selling programs, and selling manifestos, and selling policies, 10 years development plan, 5 years development plan, 20 years development plan. But the reverse is the case. You know, in Nigeria, the cases will fix road, will fix electricity, will fix security, will fix employment.
And those are things that should have been forgotten.
Those are things that should have been forgotten by virtue of the fact that somebody was talking somewhere and said we can't describe Nigeria's democracy as nascent, because a democratic system that had existed for about 22 years, since 1999. So we should have set up machineries that should fly automatically. But here we are contending with the basics of campaign. Now, if you see programs, if you see campaigns of political party, it is neither here nor there. So how do you measure the economic benefits?
Well, Dr. Tumala, I want to thank you so much. The nagging issue that is still bothering me, I think I have to ask Dr. Lekon Oketokun, who are we and why are things not working politically in the nation?
Well, that's a very big question. But in answering that, I will also say that before we begin to say who are we have to also understand the nature of the state and the nature of politics in Africa. When you look at the nature of the states in Africa, the state is dependent on so many things. You have the state in Africa is not autochthonous, meaning that it is not quite independent. It's a dependent, it has a dependent economy. And when you have a dependent economy, many things that you do within are controlled from a center. And that's the Western countries. But be that as it may, that may not even be the issue. But when you look at the nature of politics and our politicians, then you begin to know, you begin to answer the question, who are we, or who we are. The nature of politics in Africa is that it's a winner takes all, zero-sum game. And access to power in Africa is access to everything. You begin to distribute resources, the authoritative allocation of values and everything, and what Harolaswa go gets what, when and how, becomes your own property. So when you look at those who are in office, they have personified the state. And when they have done that, they begin to distribute largesse to their friends, to their people, and so on and so forth. And because the winner takes all, everybody does everything to get into office. And when you have that kind of system where it's winner takes all and everything is done to get into office, you cannot have the kind of benefits that will accrue from a normal system, because that time you are no longer seeing coming to power as coming to rendering service. Most of the time, because when you struggle for power, it is that you want to serve the society. But when you now make it a do or die affair, then it means that there's something else. If I want to come to serve in OGBC, for OGTV for example, I can't say I want to kill everybody to get here. If I am allowed to come in, since it is service I'm coming to render, it's okay. But once you make it a situation where you have to begin to kill, and in Africa, in Africa generally, people kill to get into office. People kidnap, people do all manner of things to get into office. And when it becomes that, then the dividends of a democracy may not really get to the people. Then secondly, even the process of getting into power in Africa and in Nigeria is too expensive. An average person who has the desire to serve, if he doesn't have a godfather or doesn't have billions of naira, will not get into office, because the process of selection, the primaries, is skewed against him. And these are some of the challenges. To become a councillor, ordinary councillor in Nigeria, you either have a godfather who says, don't worry, I'm going to back you, you understand me, or you are loaded with money yourself. Then you talk about the electioneering campaign itself. It's also very, very expensive. You need to get buses, go to the field and everything. You need to, the people you have even said should follow you, they depend on you to get to office. I mean, to get to venues where that campaign will be done. I mean, and don't be deceived. All those campaigns that you see, many of the party people that go there, they are sponsored by those political gladiators to get to those venues. You know, they will hire buses for them. They will give them lunch. They will give them souvenirs and all those things. And at the end of the day, when they are going, they will still give them, okay, money for inconveniencing you to come to the. Now, all these things add to the cost.
When are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up?
And that's why I talk about
this program is supposed to be a problem-solving program.
Yes.
And we can't continue to delude ourselves and believe that this scenario must continue. And we need a shift in the course of doing things. Why must we continue to have leaders who are not visionary, leaders who are not committed to developing the nation? When you look back, people like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you could see that within his own party, in a Unity Party of Nigeria or Action Group, you could see that the people who constituted the members of the party were able to come together and were able to identify him as somebody who could be the arrowhead to steer the ship of Nigeria. And he tried his best in the Western region, and which is visible up to tomorrow. Why are we not having that kind of leader, Dr. Tumala?
Why are we not having that kind of leader? It's almost a difficult question to give an answer to.
Why are researchers having issues and preparing solutions?
It is not, researchers don't have issues profiling solutions. Now, when policy options are raised, consequent upon findings, how ready are those people who are saddled with the responsibility of implementing those findings? How much sincere? How readily available?
Whose role is it to identify the people with sincerity?
Now the fact is that in Africa, as in Nigeria, we have to sincerely question our leadership recruitment process. Because if you have people with good conscience and that are ready to deliver on the good of an office or on the good of democracy, what if they don't emerge? And because they don't have the resources to fund the recruitment process. You know, the Nigerian democratic space has been extensively monetized. We can't hide from that fact. Such that if you are not the money bag, there is no way you will emerge. So that question has been settled from the word go. Now, if we have settled that, when the person that emerges has the wherewithal and he has used his resources to emerge, there is a tendency and the African person to want to recoup his investment. That is the second aspect that must have been settled across board. Now, when policy options are put on the table, I am a researcher. I have discovered this is a problem. I have presented to the implementing agency. Now, I can't be chasing them to implement these findings. It is across board. I've said this somewhere, that it is not as if Nigeria don't have solution to our problems. If you go to our research institutions, we have over 1,000,001 solutions to even the problems that that is not confronting the country. But the will to follow through what is on the ground is a thing that must be answered. Now, since 1999, fortunately for us, we've had 22 years of consistent democracy. So we won't say that we've not been able to elect our leaders by the ballot. So, but in these 22 years, we've been jumping from one level of problem to the other. Now, the nature of the average leader in the Nigerian democratic space is that who is first concerned about the self, concerned about the immediate family, if there is space, concerned about the brothers and sisters, then concerned about the extended, before it gets, we don't have selfless leaders around here. Now, the leaders of Africa of the 30s, you mentioned Awolowo. When they mention Western education, the first name that is mentioned is Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Now, if you mention contemporary education, who do we mention? Now, if you mention development in Nigeria, post-independence, there are names we can point to. But today, who are we going to? We are not saying that our leaders have failed in all respect, but we are saying that, can we match them side by side? The Awolowos, the Nnamdi Azikiwes. If we can't, then we need to relook at ourselves. Now, the issue in contest is that, is democracy serving its good? That is what we should ask, because we are talking about campaigns. We are talking about issues that surround the emergence of candidates. Now, if candidates call the bluffs, yes, elections, campaigns are very expensive. The media space, media houses must recoup their investment. So also the politicians. But the question is this: do the politicians take into consideration the average voter? You know, in democracy, every voter matters. The last voter is of utmost importance. Now, if that is the case, if we practice democracy in the real sense of it, how close are the political gladiators to us?
Well, let me shift a little bit. We can't continue bemoaning our faith.
Yeah.
We have a saying that says, as you lay your bed, you lie on it. And if we, the citizens of a nation, are not capable of helping ourselves to determine our fate, then where are we going?
Well,
I want to ask you, Dr. Okitokum.
Yeah.
Election has been completed.
Yeah.
The leader has emerged, and the leader has plethora of issues to attend to.
Yeah.
What are the qualities? Okay, let me say this. You have been able to identify that, okay, he will be able, with his quality, with his caliber, with his exposure, that he will be able to handle such issues. Why are we finding it difficult to overcome challenges that has been endemic with us?
Well, one of the things that has been happening over time is that even the followership, I must say, have been complicit. Complicit in the sense that many of us who say we are followers are ready to compromise. we do not want to take our leaders to account at all, and we are not doing it. Even when we see our leaders doing certain things wrong, rather than telling or calling our leaders to question, some of us begin to hail them, and this goes into their head. And these are some of the challenges. When you talk about Obafemi Awolowo era and so on and so forth, when we had the Obafemi Awolowos, if you were a party member, you will have a party card. And every month or every quarterly, there is a subscription that you pay. In those days, First Republic. But today, how many party member has a party card that you can identify and say, this man has contributed 20 kobo today, 50 kobo. Now, when you don't have party members who do that, then they cannot call the leadership to order, because that leader is as if has bought everybody over. He's the one that takes them to campaign ground. He's the one that fuels their car. He's the one that does this and this and that. And sometimes even when they have ceremonies in their various houses, they still go to this man to say, my wife just delivered yesterday. What are you going to do for me? When you have that kind of leadership, that kind of relationship, then you cannot have it. So there is need for us to move away from those kind of scenarios where we regard our leaders as tin gods and we cannot talk to them.
But there are also
yes,
other institutions
yes,
that can help in removing ourselves from this quagmire.
yes, and that's why
we have the civil society organizations.
Yes,
they are supposed to enrich the quality of the policies, the implementation of the policies, and setting up an agenda.
Yes,
to have a new vision.
Yeah.
Have they failed?
No, it's not. I'm not going to say they have failed, because that would be too much a judgment for me to make or evaluation. What I want to say is that as civil society organizations, as gatekeepers in our various roles, we must play those roles very well. One of the things that again allows our politicians to do whatever they like is because we don't have strong institutions. When we have strong institutions, those institutions will constrain them from doing so many things that they do today that are detrimental to the welfare of the people.
How can we have strong institutions?
What I wanted to say with respect to our civil society is that how civil is our civil societies? Until we're able to answer the question to the extent of their civility, we respect to their primary mandate as gatekeepers, then they will be able to check government. Now,
or how neutral?
How neutral? Yes, if we say, when I say how civil, it encompasses a whole lot of things.
Is the media also culpable?
We can't, because I'm in the media house now. I won't want to say that media is
culpable. No. Let's be forthright.
But the fact is that strong institutions don't fall from anywhere. Strong humans with the will to drive the affairs of the state with respect to what the state has as its primary mandate. That is what builds strong institutions. The media, civil society, and all institutions that are responsible for democracy. Democracy can give us development, but it can't happen overnight.
Yeah, democracy can give us development. Dr. Smola says it can't happen overnight. It is a task for you and I. It's a collective task. Let's come together. Let's envision a new stage. Let's envision institutionalizing in a way that there can be progress and development of this nation. It is when we do that that we can forge ahead and be proud to say we are Nigerians. Thank you for being with us all this while. Dr. Lekon Kutokun, I'm glad you are here with us.
My pleasure.
We always cherish your stay with us.
Thank you.
Dr. Tumola,
thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You have never disappointed us. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming.
Thank you very much.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go. We can't settle this matter here today. It is left for you. Let's do research. Let's come together and forge a better way forward to engender a better nation for Nigeria. Thank you. Until next week, I say bye.